Alright guys, so here we are to talk about Season 2, Episode 11 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Ted.
Oh. Some people may call this the John Ritter episode. I call this the divorce episode, or like the broken home episode, or whatever.
I think the John Ritter episode is fair. The robot episode is fair.
That's a spoiler. We can't.
We're talking about the episode here.
Yeah, well,
our whole show is spoilers.
We can't call it the robot episode, though,
I suppose.
in general.
But John Ritter, as you say, special guest.
So.
Probably the first special guest
Crazy,
Buffy
right?
the Vampire Slayer has had.
What the F?
Yeah, and it starts off hard where he's making out with Joyce. You're like, oh jeez.
Right?
Old people smooches.
That's you get a little bit.
There's
of that.
also beautiful symmetry in this episode where it ends with old people smooches.
It does.
Okay, that's it. I give up. Do I have to sound an air horn every time I walk into a room? I mean, what is it with grown-ups these days?
I like that.
Yeah.
But this whole beginning thing of this John Ritter character who comes in and he seems too good to be true. He's already taken over. He's got Joyce. He got his hooks into Xander, hooks into Willow. He's giving her software, giving him stomach pleasure.
Yeah, everyone's convinced that he's so good. The whole time I was like, he's so fucking weird. Like I never bought it for a second. It was so strange. And they kind of save it because it turns out he was slipping them drugs the whole time.
Yes.
But I was still like, because when he mask off, when he's like, well, I'm gonna slap your face, you bitch.
I guess it's a good thing I'm not in your house.
Do you want me to slap that smart-ass mouth of yours?
Like Buffy and stuff. When he does that, I'm like, okay, he's somewhat more weird now, but he's been weird the whole time. Why does anyone like this guy? What's going on?
Did you think it was weird how Willow sciences the cookies?
Yes. Like on the microscope?
It looks like it's the chemical compound. I'm like, what? I don't even know how in real life scientists can do things like this. And I don't even understand how they could possibly do that, let alone how somebody...
You take a very small amount of the cookie and you put it into a little vial and you shake it up. Perhaps put it into the machine that spins.
I think she was looking at it in a microscope.
Well, apparently the secret ingredient is not love.
What is it then?
I'm not positive, but I think it's dematorin.
If I'm not mistaken.
You want to picture what I just said. A tiny crumb of the cookie, you shake it up.
Blue, yeah.
You take one dropper maybe and put it onto like a slide. I'm picturing the Microsoft, the microscope going down and the entire cookie on the slide. And I'm just looking at the cookie like that.
Pretty much.
That's what I was like, yes, she's so smart.
I love it. I love how quickly Xander is addicted to cookies. He even suckers his friend. Because I wonder what the lasting effects of it, because it has a hint of ecstasy, flavoring on there. And so when he gets asked, oh, do you kids like mini golf? He's like, who doesn't?
Buffy, do you like miniature golf? Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
You're gonna make those little pizza bagels and he's like, and cookies. Whoa!
Well,
I'm making a picnic basket
with many pizzas
and cookies.
Yeah, he's like, these are the best. You could get several $100s a piece for these. He's like, oh shucks. Or
you should market these things. I mean, you can get $200-$300 a piece.
Yes, and turns out they're all high or something.
They're looking for evidence. If you find any cookies, for evidence.
Check for cookies. For evidence.
He likes cookies. He's always liked cookies. You should have seen him with those candy
bars.
Food,
yeah,
that one
double
episode,
fisting constantly. I really do want to try John Ritter's food. He's been a chef for most of his career.
I was going to say, I don't even know if he's good at cooking or if he's just full of drugs.
In Three's Company, he was cooking forever, so I'm sure he's taken that over.
I mean,
are you saying he's not just a person on TV? This is an actual character?
Robot Ted may not actually be a good chef, because he was upgrading Joyce's software, if you know what I'm saying, and then he was like, try this quiche, and she was like, this is the best quiche ever, I'm high as fuck, and he was like, let's go get married. It was like, that was his whole
I bet he was also, though, a great cook, but he was infusing it, because think about everything about that. Baking is a science.
Yeah, he's like the perfect chef.
Yes, exactly. He is a machine.
Yeah, it's like when the doctor on Star Trek Voyager makes a creme brulee. It's perfect or something. Yes,
it makes sense.
I thought John Ritter sucks though. I don't like him at all.
I really like John Ritter, not in this, but you're not supposed to like him. So I'm like, is that good acting or is that bad acting? I can't tell.
I toyed with that, but I also kind of thought he was just kind of bad, and he's dead, so everyone's like, he's the king, everyone loves him.
Well, he wasn't dead when it came out.
No, but my memories of John Ritter are oh, wasn't he on that show, Three's Company? And then being like, I don't care about him at all. Everybody was like, R.I.P., he's great, he's
I've always
amazing.
been a big fan of John Ritter. His TV show stuff is good, but his movies are even better.
I can't think of one movie that he's in.
Oh, man. He's in Real Men, which is one of the best ones. It's him, and I always screw up Jim and John Belushi. John Belushi? Jim Belushi.
Just say
James Belushi.
Say Mr. Belushi.
It's him and Mr. Belushi?
Jay Belushi.
But he's in a lot. Him in that glow-in-the-dark condom movie. I forgot what it's called. Oh, it's hilarious. What? I don't even know if I can throw a clip of that. It's probably not appropriate.
No,
it's a pitch black scene, and he's wearing a glow-in-the-dark condom. It's just a dick running around the room being chased by a person.
That's great.
It's hilarious.
That's not really his acting. I don't, like in this, like I don't know if it was intentional, if they just worked with whatever they had, or if it's brilliant, or if it sucks. But I was just like, I'm not buying this for even the slightest second that you're like charming anyone. You seem so fucking weird the whole time.
Well, you're not taking into account being like a desperate single mother.
Or being high on tranquilizer ecstasy.
You gotta get walked in the door by being creepy robot and taking a victim that could receive you, and then you keep them by doping them up.
Right.
Yeah.
I also immediately, because I did not like remember this episode.
Okay.
Maybe I did, but I forgot that I remembered. But like as soon as his coworker says, "Nobody beats the machine,"
nobody beats the machine.
I was like, "Oh, he's a robot. Fuck. Okay, great."
Yeah.
I was like, "God."
They hint at it a lot. He's like, "I'm not wired that way."
Yeah.
Even Joyce is like, "There should be one of you in every house." And I'm like,
I should have one.
Okay, you're like an oven.
I'm not wired that way.
Like Rosie.
Yeah, I like that. Like he gets cut in his arm, and that like hurts his like brain circuitry.
You're gonna find hell of a day. Makes you feel like you're 18 again. That I don't like being disobeyed.
I'm like, okay. Real quick before I forget, while we're talking about computery things,
I'm here for you.
That floppy disk and that upgrade shit talk you're talking about. Fuck is that?
Okay, DMA stands for direct memory access.
Okay.
And in the ancient days of computers, that was a relevant thing. Would
it come on floppies?
It doesn't. That part barely makes sense.
I thought it was a hardware thing.
So I think it's a hardware thing later. Like that's like before my time or something like that. But that was like it's like it makes hard drive access better because it loads to memory first and then uses the memory instead of using the drive. If you look at like the timeline, DMA basically like replaces whatever was before it, and that's just how everything is now, and it's no longer relevant to even discuss it or whatever.
All right.
So it's possible there was some software component for these ancient computers, but her hard drive
had to have had something.
Well, her hard drive was 9 gigs, so I don't even know if that makes sense. I think someone like, okay, the line is a hard drive, Google a hard drive, DMA, got it, okay, good, have him hand her a pack of floppies, and she's like, ooh, great, and then just that's fine.
To me, I was like, but I don't know enough about it, but it judged me as like
I don't know.
A sus.
Seems weird.
Yeah.
Accurately sus. Yes.
We get Giles going after his love again.
So happy.
He goes after Miss Calendar one more time and kind of gets like shot down hard, and I'm like, fucking bitch.
Rupert, I know you're concerned, but having you constantly poking around making little puppy dog eyes at me, wondering if I'm okay.
Right.
And he's like a pathetic British guy. He's like, I didn't mean to give you dog eyes.
The thing where he's like, he converts it in that pathetic way.
Sorry. I certainly don't mean to make dog eyes.
Puppy dog eyes to like dog face.
I'm like sad, and then later though you get that recoup where I saw your car, and while he's patrolling for Buffy,
which is so dumb because it's like what this man does for a living.
Yes.
Come on. But also, I like that she said I haven't been in mortal danger for almost 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, it's only been 3 weeks.
See how you're doing?
I'm doing pretty good actually. I stayed out of mortal danger for 3 whole weeks.
Oh, good. They're going to get back together. I'm so happy. And they did. And I'm like, yes.
Yes. No, it worked out nice. She shot him like in the spine.
Say goodnight, big guy.
So he's crippled for life. But tweed that I did not know is better than Kevlar.
I think I'm all right.
No, you're just in shock.
No, really. I think it went in too deep. Advantages of layers of tweed.
So that's good.
Well, but that was like a thing where he's like, oh God, no.
Well,
Sorry.
just the idea that he was able to pull it out means it couldn't have been even in past the actual head, or else you're ripping that back out of your body.
I'm sure he ripped it out of his body.
He ripped it out, staked that vampire. Not terribly. We have a terrible aim issue in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where if you watch where stakes go, like just earlier, Buffy is taking out all of her pent-up rage against Ted.
It's staking time, really, don't you think?
Yes.
On this poor bastard of a vampire, just beating him up. Giles has a breather and sits down. He's like, all right, do your thing here.
I believe it's staking time.
And she stakes him directly in the middle of his chest. And unless he had some weird birth defect that she was privy to, there's no way that would have killed him.
maybe it like goes in and then she kind of like feels around like a Novocaine
like a salad spinner in there.
Like, all right, kind of does puts a little English on it at the last minute.
And I'm here to tell you, those mini pizzas have changed my life. Ted is the master chef.
Brief appearance by Angel.
Yes, just to annoy me.
What do you mean?
Well, there's Buffy, like, ranting and venting about Ted, who she only talks about, and she's bandaging Angel's hand. Angel's hand was not injured in the last episode. I know he was stabbed in it, but when they carried him walking away, both of his hands are visible, and they're totally fine. I even commented on it in our last episode.
Continuity.
I said, it must have been a magic knife because their hands are totally fine. But in this episode, we got a bandage. You could have put a little slap of red on there. I would have had no problem at all, but they didn't do it.
They fucked up. They fucked up. I'm so sorry. I was like, he must have been stabbed last episode. I was fine with it completely.
I know what it's supposed to be, but it did not add to the scene at all. They didn't have to be wrapping his hand. She could have been like rubbing his shoulders and saying that, and it would have caused no problem.
Rubbing salve on his holy water burns.
Yeah, that would have been fine because he did have
David
those.
Boreanaz.
Exactly. The more the better.
There you go.
Yeah.
Make everybody happy. Come on.
I'm saying.
I liked that dialogue. That was cool when she's like, if you want to use wisdom, it's the little hints of like the fact that he's like wiser due to his being hundreds of years old and you robbing the cradle.
Do you have somebody else in mind? There's a guy out there that would satisfy you.
My dad?
Whatever we're talking about.
You know,
if we do.
But, when you're like 12 times as old as somebody.
Give or take.
Actually, more than that.
Yeah? What is it?
Well, because she's only 16, right?
I guess, yeah.
And he's 242?
Yeah. That's pretty old.
Yeah.
How old was he when he became a vampire?
He would have been...
in his 20s or whatever?
Yeah, maybe 21, 22, at the most, I think. Yeah.
We can't go by legal drinking age because it was different back then.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
He was a prince or something.
Hey, how about that? Got a hole in two.
Beg to differ.
So Xander and Cordelia...
speaking of love...
And I like this, so they have a little conversation here, and you're not sure at first, is Xander tainted by Cookie? Because he has the cookie, and he goes, nice outfit.
Hey, Cordy, nice outfit.
Oh, very funny.
Not really.
What are you saying?
Nice outfit?
And I'm like, so it did lead to something, but this is necessarily, it could be that just their second time making out, because we don't know exactly how long it was since the first time.
Right.
So I love the idea, and I don't think this is actually how it played out, but I love the idea that it may never have played out again. The cookie, though, gave him a compliment, which got the ball rolling. And there it goes.
Okay. So I took it like the cookie's why he said nice outfit, just to compliment her. But when you don't know you're high, you can kind of like do whatever.
Yeah.
And everything was like sincere. But yes, when he says, "You want to go make out?" I was like, and she's like, yeah.
You want to go to the utility closet and make out?
God, is that all you ever think about? Okay.
And like they go, I'm like, this is because that completely saves. Because last time we talked about like this whole like, you're having an argument and then you suddenly start making out. It's so like dated. It's a little yikesy, but I love it. But this is that like it's like the morning after. We're now sober in every other way. Our lives are not in danger. But now it's like, yes, we still want to make out. I'm like, yes, good. It's good. It's pure. We did it, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. It's like, yes, I'm down. Yes.
I love that.
Love
that cookie.
If the thank God John Ritter stepped in.
I'm saying
with his magic cookies to get their relationships.
Well, because you got Cordelia and Xander, and the cookie makes three's company.
And the cookie makes three company too. Wonderful.
We'll work it out. No worries.
What happened to this is killing me?
Worrying isn't going to solve any problems.
Okay, so Ted is now in her room as Buffy went out. She's sneaking back in.
Yeah, almost.
He's there, tossed it like a prison guard.
What are you doing in here?
Your mother told you to go to your room, Buffy. You and I both know she didn't mean climb out a window and go gallivanting about town.
Almost like ends the show. He almost like cracks everything open.
Yeah.
All right, because like we're getting ahead of ourselves. Joyce is conveniently knocked out again and like doesn't know what actually happened. But like Joyce, like in my head, Joyce was like in on it and like knew that she was a slayer. Maybe that happens later. I'm not gonna look at your face for any clues. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, this is still like her big secret and all that stuff. And yeah, John Ritter's sitting in the dark in the room, and yeah, he has her like. Is that really her diary, or is that her like Slayer diary? Like,
first of all, this is my room. Second, you've been going through my things?
Yes, I have.
what's going on?
I think those
here?
are one and the same. I think she just
she's the
has
Slayer.
a diary,
Okay.
and she talks about things Slayer related.
But he's like, you're fucking crazy. You think you're a vampire slayer, little lady? How dare? Like, he's going hard. It's crazy.
Yeah, one of his token little lady. Not in my house. All
Very,
that jazz.
You know.
Now, they're
I don't
lines
listen to women.
Almost like they're cringy lines that like feel like they would come from that middle age, like.
From the
like
50s,
subbing in parent, like you know, like I'm an authoritarian and I have to do this. So I'm putting my foot down.
I don't want to get between you and your mother, but I'm gonna totally just get between you and your mother.
Exactly.
And convince your mom to be against you and vice versa and whatever. Yeah.
So they get into a fight when he's not willing to give back her diary.
A fight, yes, but also like a fight.
Oh yes. No. He slaps the shit out of her.
He does.
That's mine, and you are not leaving this room in it.
Take your hand off me.
No.
And like, she's just like, oh, I've been waiting for this.
She loves it.
You picked the wrong one. And then bam, it's a knockout, drag-out fight that conveniently Joyce only sees from the point that Buffy is totally dominating the fight.
Of course, in like the true television fight fashion. Where
she should have dropped guard and let him hit her once, so it could have been like, he hit you. I saw it. Because I think at that point, if she would have seen one punch. It wouldn't have mattered what started it. That's my daughter. You're hitting my daughter.
Yes.
But so she knocks that bitch down the stairs, and he goes in the shutdown mode.
As you find out later, but Joyce is like, you killed him. He's dead.
No, but that's what's so fantastic is that he's like, you don't know he's a robot at this point. And he is potentially a dead person that your mother cared about.
Well, and this is like the middle of the episode.
Yes.
So like that's the like mid-commercial break of like, Buffy, you're a fucking murderer. And she's like, yikes. And like it ends. Like, what the fuck?
It's so great because just the relationship aspect between her and her mom, there's this awkward ass car ride, there's this awkwardness in the house, the sad fucking Buffy eyes. I'm like, you're a fucking actress.
Do you have homework?
I didn't mean to hurt him.
I don't want to talk about this.
Mom, please, you have to know.
I can't, not yet.
Joyce tries to like cover it up. She like tells the cop, oh, he fell. And Buffy's like,
He fell.
I see. Did he slip? Do you know what made him fall?
I hit him.
Like, nah, I fucking killed him, dude. It's like, oh shit, and she has to go. Her getting questioned by the cop is so good because the cop's ultimately down, but he's still like doing his cop thing of like, wait, you said this, wait, you said that. He's
That's
doing
what cops do, though.
Yes,
so cops pretend they're on your side the whole time until they can sprinkle some crack on you and put you in jail. Because he's still at the school getting all the things about her, and you were expecting a Snyder moment where you'd be like, oh, she's the worst student in the school. Exactly. Oh, that bitch did this, that, and the other thing. She burned down her last. Like,
or if my theory holds true, he knows that she's the Slayer. And he's like he's in on the paranormal stuff, and he's like meth heads again and stuff. John Ritter.
I'm pretty sure a meth head broke in there.
John Ritter obviously is a meth head. Don't worry.
But I really love this. Just like that level of emotion. You get her in the school where like, oh, everyone knows.
Oh, looking at her
like,
and stuff.
She already is looked at as like, oh, she's tough. Oh, what's this?
She's the weird girl that fights.
But you have everyone thinking, oh, you murdered this dude. And that doesn't ever go away. Because like, there's not someone like, oh, he didn't actually die because...
He's a robot. Like,
oh, sorry.
You can't do that, right?
No. So that's super interesting to me. And yes, he did come back, but only her mom would have seen. Like, she couldn't say anything. Yes, it would eventually come out that he was a murderer and had 4, dead dead ladies in his 1950s bomb shelter, which is pretty fucking pimped. I like that stuff.
Cordelia contributing by saying that rug does not match the rest of the decor.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Yeah, and this rug, it doesn't go with the rest of the decor.
I don't know if that had decor.
Who cares?
I actually love that window though, like that Xander breaks to go in there. I'm like, that's a cool window.
Those
I like that.
Industrial things or whatever.
This set looks. I think you see that window. Like I think they repurposed this room a couple times.
I think it's the costume shop. I think it's everything.
Oh, it might have been the costume shop.
I just made that up now. I have no idea. I was like, sell it.
I don't know that's true, but that might be true because there's something familiar about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's like a drill press in there which they use to build sets. They just wheeled it over. Like, there you go. Yeah.
I like that. But like this 1950 style, and you learn that his first marriage was in the 50s, which means this robot, at the latest was built in the 50s.
Yes.
Maybe earlier. And this technology is so crazy advanced.
It's so far above.
And even just on an artistic level, even if you were just to be like, I made a statue, it looks exactly like a person. Like that would be difficult
crazy.
alone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And let alone one that can move and do things and operate for what, like 40 years?
He has an arc reactor inside of his body.
I wonder.
Yes, it's crazy.
To not be detected by people?
And like Willow is like, I kept some parts. Like,
I love
like,
that.
Yes, thank you. Good. Because
this is. Well, you need to be able to start the Terminator future.
Yes, we have to get that chip where it has to go by the end of the timeline.
The sad part is the real Ted must have been a genius. There were design features in that robot that predate.
Willow, tell me you didn't keep any parts.
Not any big ones.
I know it's crazy. I don't know how he didn't weigh more than a human or was cold or whatever.
Well, he may have.
Whatever. Well, like
if
Joyce
you were a good robot,
yeah.
you would expel the heat through like heat sinks in the skin or something and make it thing.
Oh, no, yes.
But I'm wondering is like when you keep some parts, she lives with her mom. Like there's like an arm under her bed. There's like a torso in under the couch. Like where are these parts? How big are the parts? What did you keep? I love it.
I assume she meant like interior parts, but I like that better. Where it's like that's just a John Ritter's foot just in my house. Perfect.
I do like the effects. They're very subtle. Like you only see a little bit of like jaw, but the teeth really sell.
I would not call that subtle, but yes, that.
I mean, awesome. Like you don't see like a like lights and shit
spinning
happening.
Things
There's like a minor cut in his hand. You see.
That wasn't plain fair, Missy.
He sells it by like smashing a stick into his a golf club into his leg. I like that.
Well, I'm not wired that way, and I'm here to tell you. It is not a game. It does count, and I don't stand for that kind of malarkey in my house.
No, and like he's doing this weird it's like something else, but like he's talking and he's like can't be.
I don't care what you want to do. All right, son.
He just starts flipping to different things, and like they're like playing little like noises and stuff. But that's also just John Ritter doing all that, which I was like, that's cool, that's awesome. Yeah,
he's a big practical actor.
Into stuff. Yeah, it's like big acting, comedy acting.
Because I'm used to falling. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, I don't. You mean I only have to fall once? This is great.
Yeah, their fight was pretty anticlimactic with their final fight.
The final fight, yes.
Yeah, and.
I had to shut down for a while to get you off my back.
I did read that it's because she had the flu and he had food poisoning on the day they did that last fight.
Yes.
And like I'm like, oh, they almost pulled an Indiana Jones where it's just like because it's almost a one and done. It's pretty quickly. She one-liners him like this is not your house or something when she hits him with the skillet.
Buffy, come out. I don't stand for this kind of malarkey in my house.
Uncle Teddy. This house is mine.
I think that was a misplay because earlier in the episode, he's like cooking, he's like, and the key is to use a cast iron skillet. And she should have killed him and been like, the key is to use a cast iron skillet.
You gotta use a cast iron skillet. No room for compromise there.
Yeah, he says like you can't compromise on that or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like accept no replacements.
And I think if she would have played off of that, it would have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I
have the benefit of seeing the whole episode and not being there to write. I don't know if I would have thought of that.
Yes.
I
was going to mention that I liked the callback that it is with the same skillet that he was like this is the shit right here. Yes.
It was good, but like ended him very quickly.
It did.
He's a robot, dude.
I noticed that too. Yeah, I was kind of like, whatever.
But what are you gonna do? We had only 2 minutes left, so we had to just wrap it up.
I was gonna say that seems to be like a trend, so I didn't notice it like it was like a standout thing. It seems like you get some action somewhere else, and then the actual ending is like smash the amulet. Okay, let's leave.
I have no proof of anything. I've never read anything about what may have been cut or compromised from that thing. But I picture there would have been like one final, like he had a weapon or something, like a blade or something comes out.
Okay.
Something. I don't know if that that's just me wanting more. There's no evidence of anything like that ever happened.
I mean, he was like a husband bot, so he probably doesn't have like weaponry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, at some point though, he would have been built when the actual guy was alive, and he might have wanted a little enforcer.
He probably killed that guy too. I don't know.
I wonder about that whole thing. Like, I'm gonna die soon. I need to make someone like me that will love.
That's come up several times in like Twilight Zone episodes. Or just random
it's such a weird thing.
Where it's like he made a robot of himself. You're like, oh, is he fucking the? It's like, no, not like that.
If you can't actually download your consciousness into something, I could care less.
But if it wasn't a weird sex thing, then why are you doing that? Oh, so that this robot can just go kidnap my wife and just keep doing it.
Yeah. I like that it has a very specific type. They need to fit into the dresses. I only have one set of dresses.
Yeah. And it's weird that all the wives are in the closet because that's got to smell at a certain point. I don't know what's going on.
Well, he doesn't have a nose, so he doesn't care.
Well, but they all came in and like.
Well, anyone that comes in is drugged up on ecstasy and it's probably padlocked to a chair.
The other wives come in, I thought, and there was a thing. I don't know what he's doing.
Once you're going into like a commercial building through a trap door into a bomb shelter to live, I think you're already a prisoner.
But
and
you're
it
in
doesn't
love.
matter. Oh, you're in love.
Willow, you are the best human ever. I adore you. Well, that's the cookies talking, but you rock.
I like that, like, as good friends, Xander and Willow, like, you know, have her back, and, like, they're there to console her after this potential actual murder. But, you know, being what the lives they live, Xander's like, so what was he? Like, totally convinced, oh, yeah, he must have been a thing. And then when he wasn't something, you're like, oh, shit.
What was he?
What?
What was he? A demon? A giant bug? Some kind of dark god with the secrets of Nouvelle cuisine? I mean, we are talking creature feature here, right?
Yeah. No, this reminds me of some other stuff too, but like, yeah, that's like an awesome, like, you know, just his natural sort of we talking about. Bug man, demon, vampire, werewolf, like, what is it? She's like, he was a dick, and you're like, oh. Fuck! Wait, are you like a murderer now?
And then they actually like bring up the like, are they bringing our charges? Are you like
are
what?
You fucked?
Because that's so real.
But that motivates their search. Where it's like, no, keep searching. There's something. It's the cookies. This is it. This is evidence. I'm so like they're so happy to find.
Exactly. Xander's so awesome. Like, oh, if I can only get my hands on him, like a week earlier.
Like a week before.
Yeah. Man, this is killing me. That bastard was up to something. I know it. If I could just get my hands on him. Earlier this week.
And then of course Cordelia says, "I thought you liked him." It's like, well, there's a lot of people that I like.
I like a lot of things that are bad for me. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, that was one of my favorite lines.
I thought you liked him.
I sometimes like things that are not good for me.
The whole conversation when she's like, well, Buffy's like Superman. Shouldn't there be different rules for her? And Willow's like, yeah, in like a fascist society. And she's like, there you go, that. Let's have one of those. You know?
Shouldn't there be different rules for her?
Sure, in a fascist society.
Right. Why can't we have one of those?
Like, oh, fuck, yes.
It seems like Buffy was really hurt by the fact that there was a photo of her mom on the desk and she was folded out of it. Right. And I'm like, I don't know if that's weird.
That was meant to be like a, like
I'm cutting you out of this life.
Yeah, like a stinger
But at no point really until the turnover did it seem like he was actually cutting her out. It seemed like he was fully including her.
He wants to convince her. That's what you would see in a movie. Plus, that's usually the move of like the wife finds that picture on like the young babysitter's thing or something, right? So that was a weird.
But I wonder how much would it have changed the scene had he seen the full picture been on the desk. Right. Like, oh, okay. Like you could have maybe swung it back. Like maybe he's not so bad. He's the only thing important on is this picture on his desk. The only thing on his desk. And if it was a picture of both of them, I think that could have really been like, oh, I don't know how to what.
And then have the like, oh, he's taking off for the wedding, kind of like what up against that instead of it just being like, it's obviously something's bad here. Right? It feels like Buffy. Like I think she never eats any of his cooking.
She doesn't. So she's never
exactly. She's never influenced, and they make a point of that, and that's like a thing. But this is just saying like, no, your instincts about like, fuck you, you're not my real dad. Those are all awesome. Like those save your life, and those work great. You should keep doing that. And it's like, what is that message?
Joyce can never be happy,
right? Well, because Angel says like maybe your mom though wants someone, and she's like, fuck, you're right. Like it's a good growth moment, kind of undercut by the whole like I was right all along. Fuck your cooking.
Yeah,
your poisonous drug cooking.
I'd rather commit suicide.
That was
no. That I told her to tell me how she feels.
I feel like killing myself.
Buffy.
No, I told her to be honest.
Well, now
I'm like, okay, that's a very like guidance counselor dating your mom kind of a vibe, which wouldn't make you like him anymore.
No, he basically did like I don't know. I feel like a super brilliant robot should do a better job at like tricking people.
I don't know. I also would think that like how good of a job could you be at assimilating into human society, especially from the 1950s? Like it's a different like what is actually hard coded in there?
He has all day to learn. I feel like.
I don't know how much you could actually learn though.
I would have liked a thing too where he like read her diary like super fast or something like that. Like he knows everything in it. Yeah, like he's like scanning it or something.
Yeah, his finger lights up.
He goes, just gets it. Like Meteor Man, he just gets it.
You died.
That's right, little lady, you killed me. Do we have something to say about that? Are we sorry?
One last thing, and it's dumb, but
it's my favorite type of thing.
There's a particular scene where they're talking and they're like in front of the vending machines and stuff, and the chips are upside down, and I couldn't look at anything else.
I'm not.
You're having parental issues. You're having parental issues.
Xander.
What? Freud would have said the exact same thing. Except he might not have done that little dance.
Oh, God.
Who stocked this goddamn chip machine?
I thought you were going to say the part where Xander's all like, that's exactly what Freud would say, but he wouldn't have done that dance, I guess. No, we don't know. Like that. No, but it was the chips that got
the chips.
Okay.
They draw my eye. I'm like, is this because it's a set, or did the guy who stocked the vending machine in this school put them in upside down? Who's to say?
Sometimes
is it a subtle nod?
Sometimes ships are upside down, right?
Sometimes the world's a topsy-turvy place. Oh, and I love
that was the hint that something wasn't right. That things are not what they appear to be. That a machine might seem normal on the outside, but on the inside, something is twisted.
I love pre-Giles getting shot in the spine with a crossbow bolt. I love his getting tackled.
Yeah.
Like, ah!
My crossbow. Yes, exactly. It was so dumb that he went out to like slay. Can't you skip a night? Buffy takes nights off. Just be like, oh well. I guess people will die
gotta
tonight.
be on patrol. Things are happening. Gotta make sure it's safe. And like, you'd think he'd be a little better at it. Honestly, he's trained.
He's the Ripper.
Yeah, he did end up killing him. Had he not gotten, honestly, distracted by Miss Calendar, shot in the spine by Miss Calendar, I think he would have saw him and just shot him and he would have won.
But he walks around like all like scared all the time. So
that's a British thing.
Okay, he's not a coward. He's British. Oh, good, thank you.
All right, guys, that's pretty much everything that happened in this episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Check in with us next week to see season 2, episode 12.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.